Top of the morning, good people. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. One more day till the weekend. So, let me be one of the first people to give those Los Angeles Lakers a sitting ovation. A sitting ovation. Yeah. They have a perfect record at home, so we got to give them credit for that. They won a very big game last night against the Memphis Grizzlies. We got to give them credit for that also. Let's slow the roll on exactly how much confettis we're going to be throwing up in the air for the Los Angeles Lakers, though. They ended up beating the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant. So, I don't know however anybody wants to take that, but at the end of the day, they did what they had to do. LeBron James had another triple-double. Now, I've been one that's had a lot to say about LeBron James. I've been one that anything I find wrong, I'll speak on it. So with that being said, I got to give LeBron James his props where he rightfully deserves it. LeBron James has been scoring triple-doubles for the last couple of games. Now, my only question to this whole ordeal is why was it so easy for LeBron James to modify his game this season when that's exactly what Darvin Ham was asking him to do last season? That's the only question I have. Why was it so easy for you to do it for the other man when that's all the brother man was asking you to do? Now, there's a good possibility there was a lot more going on behind the scenes. There's a very good possibility that, you know, behind closed doors, in film session and stuff like that, there might have been a lot more clashes of the ego that us, you know, us as fans weren't privy to. We weren't privy to that information. So there could have been a lot more stuff going on between LeBron James and Darvin Ham than meets the eye. Understandable. I just find it rather ironic. Steven Gladsberg, my wife. What about your wife, sir? I just find it rather ironic that it was that easy for him to modify his game this year, because exactly how LeBron James is playing right now is exactly how LeBron James should have modified his game as he was getting older. Making others around you better. Now, because really realistically speaking, he doesn't have that much of a choice but to modify his game right now, because of the fact of the matter that he doesn't have that same mobility that he had when he was a little bit younger. So he has to modify his game. He's playing exactly how the Lakers need him to play if they want to have a successful season, is all I'm trying to say. I mean, if he continues on this pace, I'm going to have to change my prediction on how I think the Lakers season was going to be. I thought it was going to be an ego-driven season by LeBron James. And if it was, they were going to get their tails handed to them all season long. But if he's willing to take a step back and let Anthony Davis be the key focus of the offense that the Lakers are trying to run, they might just very well have a pretty successful season. I also heard something else in the media yesterday where J.J. Redick allegedly, apparently does not want LeBron James bringing the ball up the court. Again, as far as I'm concerned, that was one of the things that Darvin Ham wanted to change. He didn't get the opportunity, though, for whatever reason. I believe that should have been something that should have been modified years ago. When you had the addition of a Pat Beverly and you had the addition of a Russell Westbrook, I think at that point in time, his game should have been modified to let somebody else bring the ball up the court when you had real point guards on the team, in my humble opinion. But Makes no never mind here or there, as long as he's willing to modify his game now for the betterment of the team. Because that's exactly what's needed. For the first time in a long time, it looks like LeBron James is developing more of a team-like mentality. Is it because he really has no choice? And when I say he has no choice, I mean I'm talking about his physical attributes that he could add to the game. Is that the reason why? Is it because JJ Redick wants the offense running a certain kind of way and he's holding LeBron James to the fire? Is that possible? It's possible. It's possible. And I believe for the mere fact of the matter now, because there's so many people coming and speaking about the way LeBron James is with coaches and all that type of stuff, he's taken a step back from really having that type of attitude, in my humble opinion. So, once again, the only question I have to ask is, why was it so easy for LeBron James to modify his game for the other man when that's all the brother man was asking him to do? And then maybe if we go and take a look back, a look back in LeBron James's history, let's just see exactly how much harder it was for the brother man coaches to work with him versus the other man coaches, is all I'm trying to say. Why is that? But LeBron James is earning that title as being one of the greatest players to play the game. I got to give him that credit. He really is now. He's making a believer out of me as one of the greatest players. Thank you very much, but I'm not 58 though. I'm 55. I appreciate it though. Thank you. He's an individual, no matter how you slice it. Snow, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. That's a pretty original name, Snow, because I live here in Montreal, and the way it feels very cold right now, I'm expecting you anytime soon. Snow, that is. Yeah. No, we're just up here talking about LeBron James. I got to give him his credit. I'm one of those individuals that feel no way to take pop shots at LeBron James because I don't think he's the greatest player that's ever played the game. I think he's one of the greatest. I think he is a great player that has played this game. He is not the greatest. But all that to say, with the way he's been conducting himself for the last couple of games with his triple doubles and stuff like that, I got to give him all the credit in the world. He deserves his accolades as one of the greatest players. To be doing what he's doing at his age, you got to give him some credit. Now, there's people that feel that he has a little bit of assistance to be able to be doing what he's doing right now at this age. That's neither here nor there, because until somebody comes out with some actual proof of it, we're just flapping our gums. Right now, we're just giving uneducated predictions. So I'm just going to base it on the stuff that I'm actually seeing with my eyes. What I see him doing on the court right now, for the first time, he looks like he's actually part of a team. He looks like he's not making himself bigger than that team. And the reason why it looks that way is triple doubles. That means he's actually, facilitating the ball. It means he's not actually out there trying to take every single shot. Got to give him credit. Got to give the man credit where credit is due. Now let's just see if the Lakers could do something on the road, because they seem to be very, very strong when they're at home. They're undefeated. Right now, the team that's shocking the hell out of me, Dame drops. Not sure exactly who that is. Hopefully it's a good-looking brother. The team that's really surprising me right now in the NBA is the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. I mean, it's unheard of exactly what they're doing. We've heard of teams getting off to good starts. But 13-0? Really? I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever seen a team in my era with that type of start. Wolf Chief. Okay, I will, but I have no idea who that is. What does that individual do? Dame Drops. What does he do exactly? I will look him up though. If you're telling me that, I'll look him up. No, I just don't know who that is. I was thinking maybe you meant Draymond Green, but oh, food content. Okay, I'm gonna look him up. I will definitely look him up. I hope he eats good food, because I like food. Jamaican food, yeah, but I like food. Food content. And his name is D-A-Y-M Drops. Got you. I'm going to look him up. I will definitely check that out. The Cleveland Cavaliers are now 13-0, people. Oh, junk food. Okay. Junk food. All right. I'm definitely going to check that out. Yeah. To start off an NBA season undefeated is pretty impressive. I mean, I've heard of teams going 5-0, maybe even as much as 6-0, but to really be totally undefeated up until this point in time, 13 games, and they've won some nail biters. They've won some games with like just seconds left on the clock. So it's not to say this team looks like they're really for real. Barring injuries, this is going to be one very, very hard team to beat. He's from Connecticut. You know what? I can see the Cavs winning the East. Honestly speaking, I could right. If you're asking me that today, there's no team I see beating them right now. Now, a lot of people are still sold on the Boston Celtics, and don't get me wrong. After winning the championship last year, it's still that confidence that they need to get to the next level. The only problem is a lot of people say that the Boston Celtics had an easy road to the championship last year because they played a lot of teams that were injured. Now, is that here or there? Is that true? Not true? We'll find out, because, I mean, they're playing Indiana this season, which is healthy. They're playing Cleveland this season, which is healthy. And they're playing Miami this season, which is pretty healthy. So let's see what the outcome is going to be. I've never tasted what is that, Chick-fil-A? I've never tasted it, because out here where I live, we don't have any. I've just heard a lot about them, and it's 50-50 across the board. Some people say it's real good, other people say it's full of crap. So you let me know what you think. Oh, he does. He keeps crappy fast food restaurants in business. Okay. You know what? Raheem Jones, I'm going to tell you, at the beginning of the season, if we were to have this conversation about the Lakers, I would have never said that they were a good team. Now, what they've shown me so far is they are a very good home team. That's what they've shown me. I still believe they need to get Anthony Davis some help on the back end, because you see what happens when he has to deal with real centers. He had problems last night with Zach Edey. Yeah, okay, when he's outside hitting that shot, but near the rim, there's not very much that he could really do with Zach Edey. Dim the Greek. What's happening, my man? How you doing? Long time no see. It's been a minute since I've been up here, though, man. Good to see you. I'm just enjoying what I'm seeing with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I really am. I'm picking the Cleveland Cavaliers to represent the East in this cup tournament that they have. That's my early prediction. The only thing is that they're due for a loss. That's the only thing, because they can't go undefeated. So I just don't want them to get that loss at the wrong time. You know what I mean? When they're going for that cup or whatever the case may be, and then they get beaten. That's my only issue with the whole ordeal. But if they stick to their game plan, they're going to be a very difficult team to beat in this tournament right here. I got to I didn't even know. I was scanning my channels and there was a game on. I don't even know what the teams were. But don't worry. Don't you worry about that. I will definitely be watching some of the European basketball. I was scanning and I ended up watching. I'm starting to watch a little bit more G League games because, of course, you got LeBron James Jr., who's playing in the G League, where I have to ask you guys a question. From what I've heard, LeBron James Jr. is only going to be playing home games in the G League. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think that's right? Do you guys really believe that that's right? That he's getting all this kind of special treatment? When you go to the G League, you gotta do exactly what's done in the G League. Meaning the traveling, meaning staying in the bad hotels, mean eating at those cheap ass restaurants. That's all part of the whole process. So why is he being protected from that? It's not like his game is saying that he deserves to be treated like a superstar. So why is he being treated like a superstar in the G League? Why aren't they allowing him to go out there and get the business that he rightfully deserves to get? It might have been. It might have been. I didn't get to see the teams because, like I said, there was only minutes left in the game when I tuned in on it. Exactly. And if you look, hey, Dim the Greek, if you look at the way LeBron James Jr. is playing right now, there's no urgency in his game. And the only reason there's no urgency in his game is because he didn't have to go out there and get his spot on that team. It was given to him. So when you see him running down the court, he's basically just taking his time, striding down the court. There's no aggressiveness. He's not, when a shot goes up, he's not attacking the rim to go get a rebound. He's an individual that's just standing on an island watching. If you notice, when they run into their offensive scheme, all he does is run to the three-point line and stand there like his dad. The only problem is his dad has a little bit more athleticism. Biggest game in Europe. Oh, so you know what? It might have been. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of the teams were wearing green. It might have very well been that game then. Yeah. And I'm sorry I didn't get to watch all of it. But when I was scanning the channel, I only got a couple of them. Okay. Okay. See, you're a man that knows your basketball, your European basketball. I love that. I can learn something from you. It wasn't dark green, though, I don't think. Yeah. Right now, I believe the Lakers, the reason why they drafted Bronny James, it was all a publicity stunt. It's just basically a money-making scheme. They're going to drop him down to the G League. If the Lakers have to be playing on Christmas Day, they're going to bring him up for a Christmas Day game. They're, you know, just to have that whole persona, you know, father and son, the whole bit or whatever, which is all good. It's a marketing scheme. So that's good for the marketing aspect of basketball. But for the game itself, what is that doing for the game itself is all I'm asking. Yeah, they did draft him to keep LeBron, I believe, to keep LeBron happy. I believe that's the reason why they drafted him. But I believe it was also to sell merchandise. I believe it was also to put seats in their building. The last thing on their list was trying to win a championship. Off of their checklist, of when they were going to go draft Bronny James, the last thing on their list was going out there to try and win a championship. They want to check everything else off of that list first, in my humble opinion. Well, I mean, hey, if past history has anything to say, isn't that exactly what he does on a regular basis? He stays someplace till he's unhappy. If he doesn't get what he wants, he leaves. Hence what happened in Miami. Because he went up against a GM that refused to let him dictate the pace of how that team was going to look on the court, he hightailed himself out of there. And I really believe if by chance there was a lot more old school coaches around or old school GMs around like a Pat Riley, we would not have this 260 something pound ego playing in the NBA right now. It would have been controlled. It would have been maintained. But again, you got to hold the commissioner and the league responsible for everything that's going on the court right now, especially where he's concerned. Because they've given him a little bit too much control. They've given Clutch Sports a little bit too much control over what's happening in the NBA, and it's affecting the product that they're putting out there on the court. Don't ask me. I mean, I'm just an individual that's giving you my personal opinion. But check out the viewership of the NBA. You hear them talking about it now. It's gone down. It's probably at one of the lowest that it's ever been. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? I guarantee you, without even having to say anything, this All-Star game that's coming up is probably going to be the lowest viewership that it's ever had. Because I'll be honest with you, the only way I'm watching that is if I'm at home with absolutely nothing to do. And there just doesn't happen to be anything better on TV that I might tune into that All-Star game. But when I was a kid, we looked forward to the All-Star game. We knew exactly what day it was coming. We knew exactly what time, and we made sure we had everything that we had to do done by the time that All-Star game was coming on, because we were missing it back in the day. Now it's a circus. Now it's just 10 guys running up and down the court, throwing the ball up, jumping all over the gym. All kind of spectacular things, but not a lick of defense. The game is still supposed to be competitive to some extent. The game is still supposed to be played with a little bit of pride to some extent. What they're doing with the game right now, and like I said, that's just my humble opinion, but don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Listen to what they're telling you about where their viewerships are at right now. And then you guys pick sense out of nonsense. You guys try and make people understand why people aren't really tuning into the game right now. Remember, the face of the league is a king, right? I mean, when Michael Jordan was the face of the league, people watched it. People watch it because people love Michael Jordan. Other people watch it because they want to see Michael Jordan get beat. But people watched. Why aren't people watching the king right now? Remember, he's dropping triple doubles at the age of 40. He's doing some phenomenal things. Why is viewership down? I'll wait. And I'm just up here trying to speak facts. The reason why the NBA has gotten boring, dim to Greek, is because of the fact of the matter that they've taken defense out of the game. That's the reason why the NBA has gotten boring. Every single game. Absolutely. Wow. That's right. It happens every game. You're absolutely correct. Every game is like an all-star game with absolutely no defense. Now, what are they trying to do? They're trying to bring defense back into the game. They're trying to bring the defense back into the game. Every great superstar that I knew was able to play on both sides of the ball, both offense and defense. Nowadays, if you could score 30-something points and you have the guy that's guarding you only able to score 26 points, you had an amazing game. To me, you didn't have no amazing game. All you did was just trade baskets. In my humble opinion. You know what? A couple of years ago, you might have said that, and I would have disagreed with you, Dim the Greek. But you know what? You're absolutely correct right now. You're absolutely correct, because at least European basketball, they try to run offensive schemes. They play defense. They rotate. They play help defense. So you're absolutely correct. And as individuals, they bring a better skill set. The only thing I'll be honest with you, the only thing I don't like about basketball right now, man, is back in my day when we were playing, if you had a 3-on-1 fast break, you attack the basket. A 3-on-1 fast break, it went without saying. You attack the basket. The percentage was a lot higher at the rim. If you watch NBA stars run a 3-on-1 fast break now, everybody branches out to the 3-point line. And then a pass goes out to the wing, and if you hit it, it looks absolutely great. If you miss it, it's a ridiculous shot. No, they don't attack the basket anymore. Everything is about finesse basketball. When you have even your 5 guy drifting out to the 3-point line to take a 3-point shot, doesn't that mean that the game has now gotten watered down? I'll even give you one better than this. Dim the Greek. And it's been years I've been asking this question. How is it possible that you got basketball teams at the highest level, which is the NBA, and they're unable to break a full court press or a zone defense? Forget about the full court press, because you don't really see that much in the NBA. Zone defense. You put a zone defense on any NBA team, and for whatever reason, they struggle with it. And to me, I just don't understand. I just do not understand how they have so much problems breaking a zone defense. I need somebody to explain that to me. And it doesn't matter what team it is. The minute the team is having problems with another team hitting outside shots, or the fact of the matter of that team running their defense, running their offense however they want, teams switch up to a zone defense. And every single time you see a team switch to zone defense, the offensive team turns over the ball. Or, they try to get a good shot, they miss their shot, no rebound. I just don't understand how it is that they're getting paid so much money and they're unable to break a zone defense. Is it that the guys in the NBA play zone defense a hell of a lot better? They play the best zone defense that anybody's ever seen? Could that be the reason why? I just find it very, very strange is all I'm saying. Okay, it's possible they play better defense. But remember, we're talking about NBA players, right? We're talking about NBA players playing better defense. I mean, unfortunately, the level of basketball that I'm coaching right now, and that's another thing that makes absolutely zero sense to me, but the age group that I'm coaching right now, they're not allowed to play zone defense. When they get to the highest level of high school, they're allowed to play zone defense there, which makes absolutely no sense to me. I think that kids, the younger kids, should at least learn the principles of zone defense, the concept of it, meaning that you're not guarding a man, you're just guarding an area. I think that should be taught to the kids. So by the time they get to juvenile, it's like second nature to them. But for whatever reason, the only defense you're allowed to play all the way up to juvenile basketball is man-on-man defense. You could play help, you could double team, you could do stuff like that. But as far as just zone defense, like 2-3 or a 3-2 or anything like that, no, you're not allowed. I would have said if how could I say this? If we had a lot more people from North America in the NBA, I would have said maybe that's the reason why they can't break zone defense, is because they don't allow you to teach zone defense at a young age. I think that it should be taught how to apply a zone defense at a young age, and it should be taught how to break a zone defense at a young age. I mean, remember, in order to break a zone defense, it's movement. It's finding the open spots on the court. It's motion offense, which is basic basketball that should be taught to the kids. One of the things that drive me crazy as a coach standing on the sideline is when an individual passes the ball and then gets caught watching. Pass and cut. Because what I try to tell my players is, as a defender, if I'm defending you and all you do is pass and stand in one area, my job is done. What do I have to do? Them the Greek, you're the one doing things right on the zone defense. I believe that. Just pay attention to detail, my friend. One of the most effective ways in order for you to have an effective defensive scheme is communication. Make sure you guys are always talking, especially the guys on the back end. If you're going to help, make sure you're going to help, and make sure you got somebody helping the helper. Everything should be on an elastic band. Everything. So if one player moves left, everybody else should shift a little bit. Take a step to the left. Wow, you're the only one going for yeah. There should be at least 3 guys on those offensive boards when a shot goes up, man. I try to encourage that. I try to get at least 4 guys on the board with 1 guy falling back in case there's a fast break in the opposite direction. I have a little bit of somebody to slow the ball down while all the rest of the horses hustle back on defense. But really and truly, it's kind of hard to really, especially nowadays with the young kids, to have them focus on the fundamentals of what basketball has to offer. Like, how many players actually put a shot up and follow their shot? Which is just ABCs of basketball. Follow your shot. Especially if you're a shooter, you know when your shot's a little bit off and where it's going to fall off of. You're the first person that should be following that. But a lot of guys, they let the ball go and they start trotting back on defense like they feel that it's an automatic Steph Curry kind of thing. Or they put the shot up and they stand there watching. And what a lot of the young players fail to realize is this has absolutely nothing to do with coaching. Like, coaches could coach you the fundamentals of what basketball has to offer, but the dog has to come from you. The go-get has to be part of your mechanism. There's no coach that can really give you that. Yeah, we could try and bring it out. And It's possible you'll have flashes of it. Exactly. Then the Greek, you hit the nail right on the head. The instincts have to come from the players. There's not a coach in the world that can give you those instincts. Not a coach in the world that can give you those instincts, my man. By the way, Dim the Greek, how's your season going? Inquiring minds need to know, man. You need to keep me up to date with how your team is doing this season. When you say very good for you, are you talking very good as an individual, like individual stats, or your team? Oh, not so good for my team. All right. All right, all right, all right. Stick with it, man. My only advice to you, stick with it. Don't give up on it, my friend. If you've got a good enough coach, keep listening to his instructions. They're going to work out. Oh, you've been knocked out from the next round. Sorry to hear that. Why is that? Why would he be biased? Why is that? You seem to be the one that's going out there to go try and get yours. So there ain't no reason for him to be biased against you. You know what? Don't even pay that no mind, man. Just keep sticking to what you do. If you happen to be an individual that locks down on defense, if that's your strength, keep doing what you do best, man. Don't let nobody take no shine away from your light. Plain and simple. Don't let nobody take that shine away from your light. Defense and three-pointers, hey, and those are two very effective things right there. And passes, okay. Okay. You seem to be an individual that knows exactly what you're doing, bruh. All right, let's go. Especially passes. Take pride in that, man. The reason why I say take pride in that, especially myself, I used to play the big man position, the 5 spot. At times I'd play 4, but I played the 5 spot here. And we love those guys that would find us. You know, especially if you find us early, that gets us into the game kind of thing. Like if we're just guys that are just out there just running up and down the court just for rebounds and blocking shots on the back end when the guard gets beat or whatever the case may be, you know, we're not fully invested. But if you find your big man early enough and get him invested in the game, it makes for a very beautiful game. Well, one of the reasons why your center might miss shots under the rim, possibly, I think, number one, he needs to focus a little bit more on his footwork. And number two, you guys may not be getting him involved in the game early enough. Possibly. But I think one of the first things that, like especially during practice and stuff like that, like the coach should continue working on him with his footwork, with his drop steps, with stuff like that. Like especially when you're around the rim, that's just what you got to continue working on. You know what I mean? Like your finish. Post up finish, post up finish, post up finish left, post up finish right. And it should just be repetitive. I mean, like if you guys are waiting till like the second quarter, halfway through the second quarter, try and start getting him involved in the offense, well, you know what I mean? The focus may not be there, all that type of stuff. But I mean, if you guys get the big men involved in the game a little bit earlier, trust me, they'll be invested throughout the longevity of the game. Me, I was an individual. I lost interest when I just find myself running back and forth. And then having to go get mine. Waiting for a shot to go up. Hopefully, maybe somebody misses it. I get to the rebound first. I get a putback. Well, that's my two. Noah, welcome, welcome, welcome. Salute to you. We just up here trying to cover a lot of things, man. We talking about how the Lakers are doing a lot better than people have expected, myself included. How the Cleveland Cavaliers look like the team to beat, really and truly, which is kind of impressive and shocking at the same time. You're the only one that's hustling out there, man. You got to get some soldiers to run with you, buddy. You got to get some soldiers to run with you. You can't be the only one doing all that work. That's unheard of. You're probably going to the Netherlands this year for basketball? To play a game, or? Ah, I got you. Got you. I got you. You're getting out of all that nonsense there, huh? I hear you. No, to live. Okay. You gonna play some ball out there too? Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I wish you nothing but the best out there, buddy. And like I said, keep me posted. Let me know. Yeah, man. Keep me invested, man. I want to see exactly how far you go with this basketball thing, buddy. Yeah. 20 points. Oh, Division 1 side, yeah. You put in the hard work and you'll go far. That's all I could tell people. You put in the hard work and you'll go as far as your hard work takes you. And really and truly, a lot of the results will come in from the work you do yourself. Like, make sure you're invested in the practices. Make sure when you go to practice, you're one of the hardest workers out there. But you've also got to put in some time for yourself. You've also got to be out there trying to get 100 free throws off, trying to get 100 shots up. And this is before or after practice. Invest in yourself and it'll take you as far as you want to go. Five practices a week, yeah. Sounds about right. That sounds just about right. 5 practices a week. No doubt. I wish I could have 5 practices a week with my team. Unfortunately, I mean, I could only do like maybe, luckily, two practices a week with my squad. Why? Because, you know, the school has so many other team sports that we got to share the gym. I mean, you know, I'm able to build some pretty decent teams with just having practices twice a week. What do you think it would be if I could actually have, like, you know, a full 5 days? I mean, unfortunately, this week right here, I was supposed to have had a practice today, as a matter of fact, today and tomorrow. For whatever reason, there's something happening in the gym. Practice had to be canceled today. And there's no school tomorrow, so there won't be any practice tomorrow. You understand what I mean? At least if you know, you have 5 days of practice, something like this happens, but we already had 3 days invested in practice, kind of thing. You understand what I mean? Now they're going through an entire week with no whatsoever. And to me, it always feels like next week I'm restarting again, kind of thing. Because, you know, you have their motivation level up to a certain level. They didn't have any consistency this week, so their intensity drops a little bit. And now I've got to work that much harder to bring that intensity back up again. Just thank goodness that we don't have any games till next month. So I have enough time to try and get their mind frame back to exactly where I need it to be. Yeah, no, well, up here, all basketball is important. So that means school basketball, inner city basketball. Inner city is when you're playing, you know, the inner city to us is like when you're a traveling team, you know. So all basketball is important, every last bit of it. I mean, we even have recreational teams, and they take that serious. They take that pretty serious up here too. So yeah. And for me, school team is always going to be important because I was the first unity of basketball that I ever played was on a school team. Got kicked off my very first school team because I couldn't get out of my own way. My problem with basketball was a lot more of attitude than anything else. I just had the wrong attitude for the game. But I do believe that if by chance, when I was younger, we had coaches that were a little bit more invested in players that would see potential and really pull that strength out of them, I think I could have gone a little bit further in basketball, per se. But back in my day, it was either you could play or you can't. That's it. They weren't wasting any time on you if you couldn't play. They ask you to do something, they ask you to execute or do a job or whatever the case may be. If you did it, cool, you got playing time. If you didn't, even if you went and scored the basket, but the play wasn't run exactly like how the coach drew it up, you were sitting on the bench beside him. You know, that's how I grew up understanding the game. That's how I knew, you know, in a team concept, you have to try and stick within the scheme of what the whole team was trying to run. That was old school coaching. Now, there's a lot more coaches that are friends with the players. You know what I mean? I mean, now try your best. Try to bench a player for an entire game. My goodness. It's like the worst crime you could ever commit against them young players nowadays. Benching them an entire game. But I'm a product of my own personal environment. And when I say that to say I coached the way the game was taught to me. So if you're an individual that chooses not to show up to practices when practices are being called without valid reasons, well, then don't come to the game and think you're going to get playing time. It's just that simple. Because I'm not fortunate. In my career, I'm not coaching any Michael Jordans or Kobe Bryants. I don't have none of those guys on my team. So every player is going to be held accountable. Every player is going to be expected to do what every other player is expected to do. It's that simple. Have I ever had players that thought that they were of superstar status? Absolutely. But they learned very quickly that I don't care if you're an individual that can score 60 points. If you're not working within the realm of what we're trying to do here, either you jump aboard or you keep it moving. Those are the choices. It's that simple. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Either you get on board with what we're doing here, or you keep it moving. You could come sit on the bench with me. And you can learn the game from a different aspect if that's the case. Well, people, for all of you individuals that took a little bit of time out of your morning to come up here and rock with me, I appreciate you guys, man. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the fact of the matter that you take a little bit of time out of your morning to come up here and hear what Double the Innocence has to say. I'm hoping you guys have yourself a wonderful day today. Today's Thursday. One more day till the weekend. Dim the Greek. Man, I'd be available for anything. The only problem is I think you guys are a little bit too far. But I love challenges, so hey, under 16 on top of that, which is beautiful. That's my age group right there. I don't mind coaching kids that are around that age, like between the ages of, I'd have to say maybe 13 and 15. I like coaching those kids because you don't have as much attitude with them, at least here. You don't have as much Mr. Know-It-All with them, at least here. So with that being said, I mean, if you guys were a little bit closer, I would love to take an opportunity like that on and see what I can do with it. Have fun with it. Yeah, when I first started, good morning, CT. Carla, how you doing? Good morning. Salute to ya. When I first started coaching, I was coaching the eldest kids, and I did that for a good couple years. But like I said, man, the thing that started to get to me was the attitude, the Mr. Know-It-Alls. Like, They want to come out there and do what they want to do, and then when you try to correct them, they want to give you attitude. I could not deal with that. So I took a step back and said, I'm going to coach the younger kids before they get to the highest level. And the thing I enforce the most with those kids are that I'm an individual. I'm not putting up with no attitude. It's that simple. Come here and do what's asked of you to be done, and we'll get along just fine. You don't? Well, you know, results will be the results. It's that simple. And as I told you before, I have no problems making a player sit for an entire game. Hopefully one game will make them understand exactly what's expected of them. If not, if they got to sit for the entire season, I'm okay with that too. Because if I pick you on my team, meaning if you were one of the kids that made the cut on my squad, I am not going to kick you off of the team. I'm going to live with my mistake. I'm just not going to play my mistake. It's that simple. So yeah, that's why I try my best to like at least make sure I'm you know, especially the division that I'm in, I try to make sure I'm in the highest division, because I don't know if especially Dim the Greek, I don't know if you guys have that out there, but we have something called participation, which, for example, Bantam, which is the lowest league, the youngest kids, participation means every kid on your team has to play. The same amount of time except for the last quarter. So if you happen to have a superstar on your team that scores all the points, well, he can't play the entire game, or you can't ride him the entire game, because all the players on your bench have to play. Except for the fourth quarter, when you want to go for the win, then you can put whatever 5 you want to put on the court and make your own personal substitutions. I never understood the game that way. So yeah, it was when I first, like, when I coached a couple of Bantam teams, and I'm telling you, this whole system was messing me up. Took me a while to get used to it. So I had to get back to, you know, making sure my teams were in the highest division, because if you have them on the highest division, then you can make your own personal substitutions. You can make your rotation the way in which you want to make it. And that works out perfectly for me, because if there's a guy on the end of the bench that really ain't doing jack, he comes to practice and doesn't do much in practice, he half-asses it, he's lazy, all that type of stuff, why should I have to reward him in playing him in a game? That defeats the entire purpose. That just makes him understand that, yeah, you know what, he doesn't have to get any better, he's going to play anyways. Instead of giving him that go-get, that dog. No, if you don't work hard, you don't get playing time. The two go hand in hand. That's how I always understood it. So, you know, like, that's why participation to me, if I'm asking, if I'm telling you guys, I think that that's something that also kind of ruins the game, in my humble opinion. I understand the reason why they do it, because it's to invoke confidence in a kid. I understand that aspect of it. But if a kid is playing a sport, don't you want that kid to be the best at that sport that they possibly can be? And it is very possible that there are some sports that just aren't for some kids. That's okay. For example, an offensive lineman that may look like an offensive lineman in high school may not be equipped for basketball. But he's an outstanding football player. That's okay. It's very challenging. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it made me somewhat of a better coach having to go through that system, because now, you know, you really have to pay attention to, you can't, like, for example, with that particular system of participation, well, now you have to focus a little bit more on the lineups that you put on. You don't want to send all of your strong players on the first unit, because if you do, your second 5 is going to be a weak 5. So you got to try and balance your line. So in terms like that, it does kind of, as a coach, as individually, it makes you a little bit better because you got to pay attention to details. But I'm just talking about the overall product of the game. Participation for me, basketball is a thing. Either you can play it or you can't. Yeah, not every player is going to be as strong as the other player, but you'll see potential. You'll see ways for them to grow. You'll see things that they do right and focus on those things, because all those little things help a team win. I mean, there may be an individual that may be very slow getting up and down the court, but he's a big body. When he gets a rebound, he doesn't bring his hand down. He keeps his hands over his head and he goes right back up. Hey, you don't want him to do nothing else but that. In the Greek, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. I just try to simplify it as best as possible. You got to understand, basketball is a game that I love. I love all sports, but basketball was a game that I participated in and I'm very, very passionate about. That's why I have such a hard time watching individuals ruin the sport that I love. As the proclaimed king, I have a hard time dealing with that aspect of it because the game now is not the game that I grew up knowing. When you have stars on the team talking about the mere fact of the matter that they're not going to be playing in any back-to-backs, what are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? Now, the one good thing about the league today is that the injuries are not as bad as it was when I was growing up, which is a very good thing. But the game does still have to, it still does have to be competitive, in my humble opinion. That's another thing though. Dim the Greek, from what I'm getting to understand, a lot of NBA teams, you know what, let me not even say a lot of NBA teams. A lot of teams that the proclaimed king plays on don't practice. They do a lot of walkthroughs and they watch a lot of film. Just look at the teams right now that have a lot of problems, especially on the defensive end. Those are the teams that really don't do a lot of practicing together. Because I'm telling you right now, especially where defense is concerned in basketball, one of the most important things is communication. All five guys on an island talking to each other. Switch, help. Make sure the helper has help. Rotate. They all got to be talking to one another. And I'm sorry, walkthroughs is not practicing. Walkthroughs are exactly what you call it, a walkthrough. Okay, to have a walkthrough like on game day, because that walkthrough is just revisiting everything that you've been doing to get to where you're at right now. So you're just revisiting certain things. It's a refresher. But you can't be having walkthroughs on a regular basis and consider that practice, in my humble opinion. And everything I'm giving you up here today is all based upon my humble opinion. Well, people, that being said, like I said before, man, I want you guys to have yourself an excellent Thursday. Dim the Greek, enjoy your day, buddy. I enjoy the conversation. Thank you, man. You're welcome back here anytime. I love basketball with you, and keep me up to date with what's happening in the European League. All day long, all day long, all day long. Whoever the star is in that league, let me know, man, so I can start following them on YouTube. For the rest of you individuals, have yourself a blessed day. Double the Innocence with your boy E-Dub is out. Have a blessed day, people.